Hi, my name is Edgar Sanchez. I'm a senior software architect at SpearmanTech. This is the second video in a series intended to show the features of SpearmanTech License Vault. In this video, I will show you how to set up a product and how to use some of the other product-specific features available in the License Vault Management Console. This video assumes that you have successfully started the License Vault service and are running in trial mode as demonstrated in the previous video in this series. So let's get started. You want to locate the management console. The icon for mine is located upper left hand corner. So I'm going to double click that. You'll want to hit continue and accept by hitting OK any messages you get from the operating system, as this application uses administrative level privileges. After you accept it, then the application will go through. If you're running in Windows XP, you won't get that any kind of messages from the operating system. But in Windows 7 and Windows Vista, Microsoft has a feature called labeled UAC, User Access Control, which basically stops any running process that requires administrative level privileges from running, unless you click on a continue button that they display for you. So now that the License Vault Management Console has opened, you'll want to make sure you have the right service entered in field and the right port in this field, and then you'll want to enter your username and password. I'm going to continue to use service user and the same password I used in the previous video. And I'm going to hit login, and we are inside License Vault. Now, as you can see, there are no products listed in the products area, which is located, where my cursor is currently going over. If you see below this area, you'll see there's also License Vaults used, licenses used, says 0 of 1, and then product space 0 of 1. This means that since we're running in trial mode, you have a limit of 1 license and 1 product. So we're going to go ahead and create a product, and you should see this change after we create it. So let's go ahead and click on this plus symbol, and that'll open up the product screen. We're going to go ahead and enter some information about the product. Start with the product name. Since this is just a demo video, I'm going to just use some generic name like product number 1. Next, you'll see below there's a generate product GUID button. The GUID is used in License Vault so that your client can identify itself to this service. So you're going to want to jot this GUID down and then use it in the software to identify during key validation which product you're trying to validate. This is one of the safety mechanisms in License Vault that occurs in the validation process to make sure that validation requests only come from products you have created. So it is a unique ID, and you'll want to keep it secret. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and hit the button. This message comes up letting you know that you'll have to create a new for if you change the GUID. Now, the GUID and the for are tied in because the for uses the GUID in the generation process, but you don't need to remember the for, so we can just go ahead and hit OK, and our new GUID is created. The next step you'll want to take a look at is selecting the algorithm. There's a number of different algorithms you can use. I'm going to go ahead and pick one that just any random one that fits this example. I'm going to choose 3DES, and for the key size I'm going to set it to 256. That's going to ensure that the key size is going to be long enough for my preference. Choosing a different algorithm and key size change the way the keys are generated and how they appear in the end. The next thing I'm going to pick is the delimiter. This delimiter entry, delimiter every field lets you decide how frequently in the key there will be a delimiter. The delimiter is accessible from the client, so if you store, say, a 4 in here, you can retrieve that value from the client and thereby change the way the program accepts license keys. Your program can therefore be separate from the licensing system. So you can develop your application and just depend on License Vault to handle what the license keys look like, even down to the delimiter. So let's say you wanted every 4 characters, after every 4 characters you wanted the dash to appear. Now, the dash is currently the only delimiter. It's pretty standard though. In most license keys you don't have any special characters. You usually just have letters, numbers, and dashes, and that remains true in License Vault. What's neat about setting the delimiter here is that you can come back and change the delimiter at any time, and if you tie in this delimiter into your application, then automatically your users will have the new delimiter used in their program without you having to rewrite your key entry system. So you just grab this delimiter every time your customers enter the key, your custom key entry system, and then you don't have to worry about a miscommunication between your client and License Vault. So that's the idea behind adding the delimiter here. The next thing you'll notice is there is a pause and a pause checkbox. Basically, the pausing and unpausing a product allows you to take all the keys and basically put them in a disabled mode. Now, it doesn't change the enable, disabled, true or false setting for each key. It keeps those intact, but it precedes any enabled checking, so that during the validation process, if a product has been paused, every key in that product will automatically return invalid, therefore preventing any key validation from happening in your clients. This is useful if you've decided you want to discontinue a product and you want to go ahead and make sure that it isn't used anymore. Perhaps you've decided to roll out an entire new line of license keys for some reason, and you want to make sure that the old license keys for this product are no longer used. You may have different versions of a product, and you may have keys assigned to each version as well, and you may want to remove access to a certain version of your product, and so pausing and unpausing a product becomes handy at that point. The next thing you'll want to do is go ahead and generate the 4 and secret key. I'm going to go ahead and push that, and after we push that button, it's going to tell us that we're about to change this and we can't undo this change. Now, you don't need to store the 4 or secret key anywhere, but we thought that it would be a good idea for you to see how it was creating keys. It's kind of like looking behind the curtain sort of thing to see what's actually going on, and that way we feel that more comfortable accepting the algorithm and the key size if we actually get to see what the 4 and the secret key look like before we accept the settings. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK, and as you can see, the 4 is going to follow the 3DES pattern, and the secret key is going to be 256-bit size, so it's going to be pretty lengthy.